Hello, Dragoneers. So I just spent an hour rambling to myself without having the recorder on. So let's try that again, shall we? Hello, Dragoneers. It is I, Dragon War Productions. Of course, we know eventually down the road there's going to be a Fallout Online, whether we want to see it or whether we don't want to see it. We might as well throw some ideas out there for that we would want to see in a Fallout Online experience. Let's start with locations. All right, so locations. We got the West Coast covered with Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and Fallout New Vegas. We've got some of the East Coast covered with Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. And we've got Alaska covered with Operation Anchorage. So we got this entire Midwest United States, with except for Chicago being Brotherhood of Steel location. We got the entire Midwest United States to explore to ourselves. So in terms of a location, I think that would be the most likely location, and hopefully it's a big enough map for so many players to play on one server. In terms of like mechanics, I would like to see sort of an EVE Online approach to this, which would be like everything being run by players, with NPCs doing some questings and some dungeons, as well as making you can make player factions, which would be fun. And just have like no like joinable faction other than like player created factions. That'd be really good, because then you would have to work with other players in a faction and go to war with other factions. I would like to see settlement building, of course, make a return. Love the system in Fallout 4, and I'd like to see an expansion upon it with more prefab structures, more suitable structures that you would want to build in your settlement to house players, as well as NPC characters that you would hire on later on, and even have like more defensive structures as well, which would be really fun, especially if you're like in a player versus player, like one faction declares war and another faction, they find out where their settlement is, and they go to raid it, and all of a sudden they're up against a really heavily fortified settlement, because the other faction was preparing for an event like that, and all of a sudden you have to work with the other players to try to take over the settlement or to defend it, which would be really fun for player versus player experiences. Like in terms of like dungeons, so you could have like a lot of you have all these unexplored vaults in the Midwest that could be different in each and every way, and you would be able to do those for dungeons and have them all varied up and really nice. Having to go through defensive systems that are different each time, different outcome, different rewards. Maybe even like throw Gek in there for the heck of it. And instead of having it be like, you know how in the Elder Scrolls Online they have to go for Elder Scrolls in the game, instead of that it would be the Geks. You would have to go and get the Gek from the enemy factions that were created by players, not pre-made factions, but player-made factions. And that's important, because you're gonna have so many different player-made factions, and by the time you like say 6 or 7 years from the game's launch, and maybe those factions don't exist because they were wiped out by another rival faction, you get to see the remnants of that faction as they got absolved by another faction or whatever, which would be fun replayability. The world's not going to be the same when you rejoin it 6 months from the game, or 6 years, or whatever. Each time you log into the game, something different's happened. The borders of one faction expanded to another area of the map or whatever. So that I would really like to see this kind of EVE Online approach to it when it comes to that, and have the economy player driven as well. And it would be really fun, because having a lot of fond memories of playing EVE Online with a faction right now, and seeing all these crazy schemes of assassinations and stuff like that, which would be really well implemented into a world like this, would be nice. So there we go. There's that. Let me know what you would want to see in a Fallout Online. I mean, we're gonna see it whether we like it or not. So if you want to throw out your ideas, throw it out in the comment sections below. Like, subscribe, comment in the comment sections below. We'll see you next time.